Potentially, yes, but it was implemented in such a way that it's optimizing. So probably it will add it at the end. So for example, if you have sets of maps, then a system that have sets of maps can put it in any order. So if you insert, it will just put it at the end, right? If you have list of maps, then the naive implementation would be to just, if you insert in the middle, you have to rewrite the rest, but you agree that would be terribly inefficient, right? To rewrite everything. So there's tricks. And again, they came up with these tricks that might be complex to implement, but they did that so that you don't have to worry about that, right? So this is really the value of a system like this, is that they took care of it for you, and you just use SQL and everything works magically. That's data independence. The number one message of the course is data independence, right? You want to shield the users from the complexity, right? Okay. All right. So basically, I wanted to scare you with this to show you that you don't need to worry about it. It's precisely because it's scary that we have data independence to avoid this. Okay. On Zoom. Oh, about the exam. MDX, no, we don't ask you to learn MDX. You don't have to worry about that. I only told you that exists. You need to know that there is a language, MDX, that handles cubes, but you're not supposed to learn MDX. No. Database architecture, you don't need to worry too much either. It's really, I just wanted to show you, to get you an impression of what's happening below the hood. Maybe what you need to know is what I showed you about the memory, the hierarchy, right? You have the tapes, the disk, the memory, and the registers in the CPU. Maybe know that order. Know that if you have no electricity, then the data on the tapes and on the disk is going to survive. The details, I don't think we are going to push it too much at the exam. If you want to know numbers, then the pages that are 8 kilobytes, the chunks up to 1 gigabyte and so on, but I don't think we are going to push too much.
Yeah,
right.
For that, I think it's supposed to be exactly this slide about but how fast things.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you don't need to worry too much. Again, I was just passing by quickly to show you, right? So I hope it reassures you. Okay. Which brings me to the wrap up, everything that we have done during the semester. So we've seen database systems, which consist of two parts. The database is the data itself, right? That's all the data, plus the database management system, that is the software written in C++ or Java or whatever language that takes care of all of these scary things, right? That's basically the database management systems that take care of it. Together, it's the database system. I've told you so many times about data independence that the whole point of doing that is that the end users think of tables, they write SQL, and they are completely shielded from all the complexity. We can swap the physical storage in big data for engineers, we'll put it on servers in the cloud and so on, but the logical model is going to remain the same. We've looked at definitions, mathematical definition for relational tables. And the one thing to remember here is that it's sets of maps with three conditions: relational integrity, domain integrity, and atomic integrity, right? Relational integrity means they all have the same attributes, the maps in the same table, the records. Domain integrity means in the same column, it's all the same types, right? You don't mix types in the same column. And atomic integrity is inception. You don't have tables in tables in tables in tables, right? For whom that's super clear, right? I told you that in the first week. So sets of maps. And then you have, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. So you also have bags of maps, lists of maps, if you care about repeating records or if you care about the order of records. I spent a whole week explaining to you all the possible types that you can have in your columns, and that's the menu. You have strings, you have binary data, you have numbers, integers, decimals, you have approximate real numbers, booleans, dates, times, intervals, and so on. At the exam, you'll have the documentation, so you can access all of that in the documentation, right? So you don't need to worry too much. But this is the standard SQL types. Sometimes there's few deviations. I put it in parentheses. So in the case of PostgreSQL, they have different names here. But again, you'll have the documentation at the exam. Okay. We spent also some time. Oh, yes, there's a question. Yes, you do. Exactly as I put in the Moodle. I will tell a few words about that in the second hour. Absolutely. You get a lot of supporting documentation, right? So now I taught you how to create tables, modify tables, the columns in the tables, to drop a table. Who knows how to do that? Right? Wonderful. I showed you how to do it in SQL. I showed you how you can insert records, delete records, update records, and query them. Who knows how to do that? Awesome. And you can practice even more. Querying for the exam is very important. I told you about the fact that tables have primary keys, like the social security number identifying a person. And I told you that you can reference from a table, you can reference another table with what's called the foreign key, right? Who remembers that? Very nice. And then what is it called when you put them two together? A foreign key, but when you put the table together, it's called a... What is the verb for merging the tables? Yes? A join. You deserve your break. Okay. You remember we joined the table. And when we join the table, it's precisely putting the foreign key and the primary key. All right. So I'll see you in 15 minutes. I finish the wrap up, and then I'll talk about the exams and we'll play the quiz game. Right.